The advice was always the same: learn to code, learn Python, learn SQL. Advice was never wrong, exactly, but it was always incomplete. This video is specifically for people in their 20s and early 30s who are somewhere in the middle of a career, not just starting out, not yet settled. You're probably in a role that involves some combination of communication, coordination, analysis, or judgment. You're not a software engineer. You don't plan to become one, but you're watching AI get better very fast, and you're asking a reasonable question: what do I actually need to do? And the uncomfortable reality is this: the standard advice doesn't give you a clear answer. Stay curious. Keep learning. Embrace AI. These aren't answers, they're placeholders. What you actually need is a way of thinking about which skills compound in value as AI advances, and which ones quietly become obsolete without anyone announcing it. That's what this video is about. In 2023, a team of researchers at MIT and Boston University published a study on how AI was affecting white-collar work. They didn't study factory workers or truck drivers, the usual subjects of automation anxiety. They studied knowledge workers, writers, analysts, consultants. What they found surprised a lot of people. The workers who got the biggest productivity boost from AI weren't the ones who were already the most skilled. They were the ones in the middle. Average performers, given access to AI tools, started producing output that looked a lot like the output of the top performers. Read that again, because it matters. Or AI didn't make experts dramatically more powerful. It compressed the gap between average and expert. Now think about what that means structurally. If AI can replicate the output of a competent mid-level professional, the kind of output that most office jobs are built around, then the value of being competent and mid-level doesn't hold the way it used to. The question isn't whether you'll be replaced by AI. It's a subtler question. What kind of value are you providing that AI cannot compress? That's the system we need to understand. There are 4 steps to this mechanism. I want to walk through each one slowly because they build on each other. Step 1. AI automates outputs, not judgment. When people say AI will replace jobs, they're usually imagining a robot doing someone's full job. That's not really how it's happening. What AI does extremely well is produce outputs, drafts, summaries, code snippets, data analysis, structured documents, translations, research compilations. These are things that used to require time, training, and human effort. What AI does poorly is exercise judgment in ambiguous situations, deciding which problem is actually worth solving, knowing when a client's stated request isn't their real need, recognizing that a dataset tells a misleading story, understanding what a room of people actually needs to hear versus what they said they want. Think of it this way. A junior consultant used to spend 60% of their time producing deliverables, slide decks, research summaries, market analyses. That work took skill and time. AI can now do a meaningful portion of that in minutes. But the other 40% of their time, diagnosing the real problem, managing the client relationship, deciding what framing will land in that specific boardroom, AI cannot do that. And here's the critical point: that 40% is now the whole job. The output layer has been commoditized. The judgment layer has been promoted. Step 2. The value of rare skills increases as common skills get cheaper. This is basic economics, but it plays out in a specific way in knowledge work. When AI makes competent writing easier, the value of competent writing drops. When AI makes research faster, the value of raw research drops. These things aren't worthless, they're just cheaper. But the skills that remain expensive are the ones AI cannot replicate at scale. Clear thinking under uncertainty, the ability to ask the right question rather than just answer the one you're given, effective communication with people who disagree with you, and genuine domain expertise, the kind that lets you know when an AI-generated output is subtly but importantly wrong. Here's a concrete example. A mid-level marketing strategist used to differentiate herself by being able to produce good copy fast. That's table stakes now. What makes her irreplaceable is knowing which brief is wrong before writing a single word, because she understands the customer in a way the brief writer didn't. That skill didn't emerge from a Udemy course. It emerged from years of close observation, feedback loops, and pattern recognition in context. This is why learn to code was always incomplete. Technical skills are acquirable. Contextual judgment compounds. Step 3. Hybrid competence is becoming the career moat. Now that you understand the judgment gap, here's why that matters for how you position yourself. The people who are thriving in this transition aren't pure technologists, and they're not people who've refused to engage with AI at all. They're people who have deep expertise in a specific domain: law, medicine, finance, education, operations, combined with enough AI fluency to direct, evaluate, and critique AI outputs intelligently. Call this hybrid competence. A lawyer who understands AI's limitations in contract analysis is more valuable than a lawyer who doesn't, not because she codes, but because she can use AI as a lever while catching what it gets wrong. A product manager who can articulate a precise prompt and critically evaluate the output is more valuable than one who either ignores the tool or outsources their thinking entirely to it. The moat isn't being technical. The moat is being domain deep enough that you can supervise AI where it fails, and AI fluent enough to extend your output where it helps. This is a specific, learnable combination. It doesn't require a computer science degree. It requires deliberate effort in the right direction. Step 4. The feedback loop is accelerating, which means the window is real but not infinite. Here's where most people get stuck. They understand, in the abstract, that they should develop these skills, but they don't feel urgency because nothing has changed visibly in their immediate environment yet. The problem with that instinct is that the feedback loop between AI capability and labor market adjustment is shortening. It used to take a generation for technological change to fully work through an industry. The mechanization of agriculture took decades. The transition from typewriters to word processors took a decade. But AI is iterating in months, not years, and the institutional adjustment is following faster than in previous cycles. This doesn't mean panic. It means the window for deliberate skill building is real, and it's narrower than it was 5 years ago. The people who will look back in 10 years and say they navigated this well are the people who started building the right kind of competence now, before the pressure became visible in their immediate environment. Step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. This isn't about surviving AI disruption. It's about understanding the specific mechanism clearly enough to make deliberate choices while you still have the option. Let me describe 2 versions of the same person 5 years from now. Same starting point, same job title, same industry. The difference is one choice made now. The first person took the standard advice. They stayed heads down in their current role, kept doing good work, maybe picked up a couple of AI tools because their company asked them to. They never developed a clear view of where their value actually came from or what part of their work was quietly becoming automatable. When the restructuring happens, and in most industries, it will, they're surprised. And the skills they have are the skills that are now common. The second person spent the same 5 years doing the same job, but with a different layer of intentionality. They thought carefully about which parts of their work required genuine judgment and invested in deepening those parts. They developed enough AI fluency to use the tools well and to know their limits. They built a reputation for the thing that's genuinely rare in their field: clear thinking, unusual domain expertise, the ability to see what others miss. When the same restructuring happens, they're not surprised. They're the person other people come to. Because what they offer is what the moment actually demands. Same starting conditions, different orientation, very different outcomes. Here's the one mental model I want you to leave with. Think of your career in 3 layers. The bottom layer is outputs, the deliverables, documents, and tasks you produce. This layer is under the most pressure from AI. It's not worthless, but it's the most exposed. The middle layer is process competence, how quickly and reliably you can produce those outputs, manage workflows, use tools. This layer is valuable, but increasingly contestable. The top layer is what I'd call signal, your ability to know what problem to solve, who to involve, when the answer is wrong, and why something that looks good on paper won't work in practice. This layer is built from experience, observation, and deliberate reflection. AI cannot easily replicate it, and it compounds over time in a way that technical skills alone do not. Most career advice focuses on the bottom 2 layers. The people who navigate the AI transition well are the ones who actively invest in the top layer, even when it's less measurable, less immediately rewarded, and harder to put on a resume. The reframe is this: stop optimizing purely for output speed and start investing in the quality of your judgment. Because speed is now cheap, judgment is what's becoming scarce. So back to where we started. Everyone told you to learn to code. That advice was always incomplete. Here's the complete version. The goal was never to become a programmer. The goal was to stay in the category of people whose work AI amplifies rather than replaces. And one sentence to compress the whole video: the future-proof career isn't built on learning what AI can do. It's built on deepening what AI cannot. But here's the question I'll leave you with, and I'll make a video about it soon. If judgment is what compounds, if that's the real career asset, then how do you actually build it deliberately? Is it just experience, which means it takes time you may not have? Or is there a faster, more structured way to develop the kind of thinking that makes you genuinely hard to replace? That question has a real answer, and it changes how you approach the next few years of your working life. If this video helped you think more clearly about your career in the AI era, subscribe to Clear Signal. That's what this channel is for. Not tool reviews, not AI hype, not doom. Just clear explanations of the systems that are actually reshaping work.